to. So I know that's something I need to do more, but I knew that my actions would back it tonight, and then what happened originally wasn't circumstance, that it was something I created.
We heard a little bit of what you were saying in the cage. Just run through it again for us. You know, what's next? What do you want? What are you looking for?
Yeah, so Lima McFarland and I have been training partners for years. We have a lot of respect for really good friends. And she's talking about she wants to retire and she wants her fight against me to be a retirement. After her not making weight the last fight, and just, you know, who always wants to have to cut all the way down all the time, it would make sense to me, and I want to be Bellator's 135 champion, and I want to hold a belt in 2 divisions. And I can't think of anybody better to do that with than Alima, as her retirement fight being my opening to opening a new division in Bellator. So I'm going to fight her in Hawaii for retirement, and then Watanabe has worked way up the ranks. I think she deserves a second go, because I think I did catch her by circumstance. I don't think that is what was supposed to happen. And to do that in Japan, where that's where I grew up, and it's her home roots, I think that would be a phenomenal card for Bellator to put on.
Have you had conversations with Scott or anybody else about them opening up 135? Is it just wishful thinking, or do you know something that the rest of us don't officially know yet? I mean,
it's mostly wishful thinking, but if there's one thing that I've been doing since I've been at Bellator is trying to put things into fruition and putting out there what I want. This is something I want, just like I wanted to win the fight. I said I was going to win the fight by the 2nd round. That's what I did tonight. So I think that Bellator is going to listen, and hopefully they'll meet me with this and we'll make a 135 division.
For Carmouche Media once again, all gratitude and smiles. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
What does the win tonight do for you personally, away from the cage?
Personally, this is the first time I've ever gone away for fight camp. My head coach, he moved out to Virginia, and I have all the faith and confidence in his ability, and this is the first time I've ever left home for a coach. That's how much belief I have in his abilities and trust that I have in him and confidence. So I was like, hey, I know that you're moving to Virginia, but can I follow you and do my fight camp with you? So that meant that I left my wife with 2 kids, our nonprofit organization with all the dogs that she's training by herself, and doing it on her own. So this is a big win for me, because I left her all alone. I had to sacrifice. She had to sacrifice so much. So this is something that I had to show her, that all that sacrifice that we both did wasn't for anything. That I did the right thing.
And also during the fight tonight, did you find yourself having to make necessary or different adjustments compared to your last match against Velasquez?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, definitely she didn't run like she did the first time. And then on the cage, I definitely felt stronger against her the first time, the run round, where I just could easily manhandle her and move around and control her. And where if I would give and take for a knee, she would give back. And she didn't, I mean, for one, she was punching me below the belt, which I know the ref saw, which was definitely a surprise for me. But I anticipated that if I need her, she was going to need me back and off balance. And she definitely learned from our first exchange in the fight that that's what ended the fight for her. So she adapted for that, and they came as a surprise. So I was definitely trying to make her there with it.
Liz, congratulations. Similar question you already asked. The crowd was booing. You have such an advantage on her on the ground. How hard is it to kind of stick to that game plan, knowing that, you know, the submission's going to open or something like that, but, you know, not having that, you want to please the crowd and let me slug it out with her?
I mean, if you listen to my coaches, I actually went against the game plan a little bit. I had pictured something so much and I had worked on it, I saw it in my head. And as much as I even tell other teammates, like, just as you picture something, don't do it, listen to the coaches. I just knew what we had worked on, I could tie into so much better, and I knew I had the gas tank to do it. So that was going against the game plan. But I know we all had the confidence that once I got there, I was doing the right thing. And whether the crowd boos or not, I've been in fights where I'm coming into a different country, and the entire country is against me. So the fans don't really persuade me one way or the other.
I want to go back to what you talked about, Lima McFarland. I'm a little surprised you said that you want that match, because earlier this week you were asked about it. Sure, they were asking to defend the title against her, but the one thing you really stressed was like, hey, she's my friend, but I don't want to give someone a gift. I mean, she's lost 2 out of her last 3 fights. I mean, do you really think she deserves a title shot?
In the 135 division, where she has a clean record, yes. There's something to be said. She did so much. I don't think that the flyweight division would be where it's at today in Bellator if it wasn't for Alima. She did such a good job of being a voice and advocate for women and an advocate for this division that I certainly want to close out her career in a good way. And it'd be nice for me to not have to go all the way to 125, and I know she'd love it too. So I think that we could put her on a good show at 135, and it doesn't compromise the 125 division by doing that.
And my last question, I was thinking about, you know, the 3 major United States-based MMA organizations, Bellator, UFC, and PFL. You're the only woman who's who's an American who's the champion right now. What does that mean to you?
That's the crazy. I didn't even realize that was the case until you just said it, and I just put all of it in my mind. Not only that, but I'm probably, when you say that, I'm also the only Marine Corps veteran that's on this belt. So that means a lot to be able to represent the entire country and doing it strongly.
Congrats on the win, champ. You mentioned fighting at 135 for the title, maybe next. What does that cut for you to get down to 125 now? And would you have to change your body composition at all to really compete at the highest of levels at bantamweight?
No, I don't think so at all. I carry a lot more bone density and muscle mass